Okay, so Erin's video challenge. I'm going to attempt it. Question number 1. Who was your favorite celebrity as a child? I'm one of those people who are, too many favorites with, basically everything. So, Nev Campbell, huge fan of the Scream movies. Huge fan. Um, Topanga, TV show, but if any of you out there know the TV show Boy Meets World, you'll know what I'm talking about. I used to adore her. I had hair all the way down to my butt crack when I was little, and my hair's always been pretty thick. And when I was super little, my mother still helped me get the shower ready and whatnot. I would flip my hair over, flip it back, and get it all poofy like Topanga's. And I'm like, Mom, guess what I look like? Topanga. I used to do that all the time. I was so freaking corny. I don't know. I guess I just thought she was beautiful and wanted to be like her or something like that. I don't know. Anywho, Owen Wilson. I had a huge crush on him. I've never been someone for blondes. Blondish? Yeah, he's really blonde actually now that I think of it. But I just adored him. His humor. I love his humor. It's so quirky, but it never gets old. Uh, Question number 2. What type of pets do you have? Well, as of now, I only have one. Her name is Hippie, Hippey, and she is what they call, I believe, a lilac tortoiseshell cat, medium fur. They call her lilac, I guess, because she's mostly gray, but in certain lighting, the gray color can look like it has a slight tint of purple, lilac, whatever. I've had her since she's a kitten, so it's been about 3.5 years. Yeah, 3.5 years. Um, what is your favorite color? Lilac, black are my utmost favorite colors. Burnt orange, seafoam, and mauve. Yes. What is most memorable about your high school years? Well, during my high school years, especially the first two, freshman, sophomore, before I entered into RG Drag Career Technical Center, my junior and senior years, I was pretty much a complete rebel. I don't know, it's just a bunch of little things I would do. I always got in trouble. One time I can remember, this is really bad. Well, it's not horrible. I've heard millions worse, but one time everybody was at an assembly, and my best friend and I were screwing around, and they had just built an elevator in the high school for handicapped kids. My best friend decided to get into the elevator and act like she was going up. Well, she actually did start elevating up. I ran upstairs above the elevator. It's open spot leading to the upstairs. I leaned over the railing. It was acting like I was gonna hock a loogie on her. I'm like, spent to spit on her, and I accidentally ended up actually spinning down at her while the elevator was going up. The elevator she shouldn't have been in the first place, and it just barely missed her. It got all over the elevator floor. She's like, Destiny, I'm gonna kill you, and ran after me, and yeah. That's just a random memory off the top of my head. Which word best describes you? I'd have to say esoteric. Period. What is your greatest accomplishment? I can't say I've ever had a huge accomplishment, but I do still take pride, even though it was a while ago. It's in junior high, last year junior high. Second place in spelling bee, hell yep. Taekwondo. I only got to reach my green belt, but because of my bad grades, my parents made me get out of it. which I want to go back into it someday. But yeah, I enjoyed that very much. Felt very successful. What drives you every day? I would have to say the love of God, my husband, and pure curiosity. What is your favorite food? Sloppy Joe. Yes, main course. That's my favorite food. It's always been my favorite food. I cannot get enough of especially spicy Sloppy Joe. I don't know why. I love bread, I love meat, I love spices. Put it together, voila! My favorite dessert, though, cheesecake. That's not on there, but, you know, it's kind of put together. It's food. I'm obsessed with eggnog. Okay, now we're branching into beverages, but I'm literally obsessed with eggnog. Like, ever since I was little, when I very first tried eggnog, my parents would freak out and yell at me because I would literally wake up in the middle of the night, like, jonesing for eggnog. And I would try to creep to the fridge. Next morning, entire half gallon is gone. I can't help it. I'm literally addicted to it. I don't get it. I don't know if it's the raw egg. I am a huge fan of raw egg. Cookie dough batter, brownie batter left over. Don't touch it. It's mine. It's all mine. What is my mission? I don't know. I feel I pretty much discussed this in the last video. And I feel this question is going to come up again later. I've reviewed the questions and it will anyway. So next question. If you were invisible, where would you go? 2 places. One's very random and one's a very good idea, in my opinion. Random place would have to be to follow Pedo Bear. See how he likes it. Anybody here know about Pedo Bear? The little creep? He's gonna get his someday. Seriously? Where the American government keeps the most top secret files. Haha! If I had a key or a hammer. Wouldn't they like be completely freaking out? Just me taking a sledgehammer to one of their cabinets or something, whatever you want to call it, their vaults, and it's just flinging in the air, and they're like, "What the fuck?" I don't know. Would they shoot? Would they shoot something invisible? I'm curious now. Should I do this? Can I do this? Anywho, what traits in others are you attracted to? Well, I always say this. I'm very attracted and intrigued in people in general. I love getting to know as many people as possible. Really get inside their heads. They're just, really? I don't know. But I guess some huge traits that really attract me, I suppose, would be, I don't know, kind of the introverted, mystique, mysterious kind of feel to them. People with unpopular opinions, I guess. People who aren't easily brainwashed by the government / media. I don't know. It's very hard, actually. What is the kindest thing anyone has done for you? I tried to kind of think about this before I started the video, but see, I'm always doing kind stuff, no matter how small, for other people. It's not always the other way around. It usually isn't, actually. But I have had lots of people do lots of little kind things for me. A recent one I can think of, I guess, my mother. Poor sense of direction. She gets lost all the frickin' time. Everywhere she drives that she's not extremely familiar with, even if she is very familiar with it, she still gets lost half the time. Especially in the dark. My mother's nice enough last summer to take Benjamin and I. We couldn't find any other ride. We ended up being only limited to her driving us to very northern tip of Ohio so we could get to the airport to have our summer vacation up here in Minnesota. And that's when we liked it way too much and ended up actually moving up here. But she drove all the way up there. She was a champ. I gave her all sorts of directions, alternative directions, just in case. Drove all the way up there, drop us off, drove all the way up there to bring us back. Yeah, Ma. Thank you. How do you want to be remembered? Seriously? I'm not... It's hard for me to be that vain, I guess you could say, in a certain perspective. It is kind of sort of vain. I don't know. It's hard for me to put myself in that kind of position. Well, I guess I'd want to be remembered for at least trying, for trying to follow God in the best of my ability, for rising up a million times after a million times I've been kicked down, rising up from the ashes like a phoenix. Not so dramatic, but for loving my family, my kids, as much as I possibly could, passing down my good, my morals, my compassion, and my curiosity, hopefully. That's about it. What would you do with $1 million? This one is always kind of hard for me, but simple simultaneously. Simple in that I would give nearly all of my money away immediately to help others. The couple decent family members left in my family. And to hungry children. Anywhere, America, third world countries. I always bring up how it's so hard that if I do become rich someday, or just when I just get more money I'm able to give away to charities more often, how am I supposed to pick? How am I supposed to choose which charity is better than the other? I mean, not necessarily better, but I have to choose. And there are so many I want to give to. Do I give a penny to a million charities? That's not going to do anything. But I have thought about it recently. I've contemplated. Hungry. Simple, but to the source, to the roots. How can people thrive? How can people learn? How can people get away? How can people move on if they can't even eat, you know? And then I guess I would buy a plot of land for our dream home later on. And a car. I don't think our vehicle is going to last much longer. If you were on an island, who would you want to be with? Why? Any random person, any random important person who has a tracking device on them that won't kill me. Why? Kind of obvious, don't you think? You have a 10-minute speech to give at a high school. What is it about? I could probably think of something more complex and not quite as predictable, but I have done reports on this before. Projects, speeches, whatnot. Abortion, pro-life. It's one of my major concerns. Alright, there is Erin's video challenge. Hooray!